Five, four, three, two, one.
Turn this thing up. Let's do this.
Always passionate, always fiery. You're listening to the Strom Sports Show. Take it away, Steven.
Wow. What a sports week we had this week. Stanley Cup and the finals last night. Steven Strom here, TalkNorth.com. Welcome in here, episode 51. Shout out to my producer, Brandon Morton, my video editor, Matt Augustin. If you want to advertise with us, visit TalkNorth.com and talk to Jim Suhan. All right, look, we've got a ton to get into today. I want to first give you a little stuff about the finals, my thoughts, and then I'm going to get into the Twins. And as the Twins keep rolling, they do keep rolling at 45 wins here, recording on a Friday. But the bullpen is becoming problematic. I'm happy we're seeing it now, because once we get to October and say the bullpen was overachieving and this happened, then you thought, okay, what can we do? But now we know that the Twins have a bullpen problem. They have to go out and they have to do something to either get a Sean Doolittle, to get somebody into this bullpen just to fortify that. Okay, the finals. I found myself for the first time cheering for Golden State just because I wanted to see a Game 7. You didn't want it to end. Every game was close. But here's my takeaway from it. Number one is this needs to be more about Toronto. I understand the injuries to the Golden State were big. I understand that Clay leaving that third quarter was huge, especially because he had 30 and he was hot. I understand that Durant not playing in the series was a huge effect. But this is what happens during the playoffs. This is what happens to teams. And for Toronto to really, in all honesty, they should have won in 5 games. They're up 6 with 1:30 left in Game 5. They should not have lost that game. This is a series where Toronto easily could have wrapped this up 4-1. This is about the Raptors. This is about their team, their togetherness, their cohesiveness, their culture. And it has shown that talent doesn't always win you championships. And this was a perfect scenario. From Kawhi Leonard to Van Fleet to Danny Green to Siakam to Gasol to Nick Nurse. They absolutely played a perfect series, and not a lot of guys gave them a chance in this series, but they came out and they showed that their togetherness, their cohesiveness, and their ability to play with each other and to play with that chip on their shoulder. And I always talk about having a championship identity. A lot of teams that win championships have a calling card, have like for example, the Warriors. It's always been strength in numbers. Their bench has always been a big part of their success, and they didn't get that in this series. But just the way Toronto has handled this series, they played with a chip on their shoulder. And you look up and down their roster, it's a bunch of guys that not a lot of teams, they really wanted. I mean, you look at Kawhi Leonard. He's a 15th overall pick drafted by the Pacers. He was traded away. You look at Fred Van Fleet. This guy was undrafted. He played in the D-League. He won a championship. He was the last guy on a 15-man roster for the Raptors. He comes in. What did he have, 12 points in the fourth quarter? Something along the lines of that. I mean, he completely took over the last quarter of this game. Pascal Siakam now is in the running for most improved player this year, alongside with D'Angelo Russell. Before Kawhi Leonard came, they were labeled as chokers. They were labeled, they can't get past the Cavs. They can't get past these big games. You look at Kyle Lowry, another guy that so many people criticize. I mean, he played phenomenal last night. 26 points. I mean, he carried them in the first quarter. You got to give the Raptors a ton of credit. This is about them, and I'm going to refuse to make it about the Warriors. I don't want to hear that they got injured. I don't want to hear all these things. Toronto was the better team. They were better coached in this series. They were more prepared. They executed better. Even though at the end of the game, and I'll tell you one thing, Danny Green is the luckiest man in sports. I don't know what the hell he was doing. You are a veteran, okay? You are a prime finals guy. You get trapped in that scenario. He is so lucky that Steph Curry missed that 3, because if he hits that the first thing we're thinking is, what is Danny Green doing throwing that ball away? He's lucky he got away with that.